Alright, so first things first, the amp I'm using is the USA 2C++, which I love for really heavy tones, but it also works really nice for spanky clean tones. What I've got is some scene controllers attached to the input trim and the input drive, basically so that I can reduce most of the front end gain and just kind of get like a Fendery kind of clean sound. Here's how it sounds on the neck pickup. And what I'm doing to further clean everything up is just slamming the front end with a compressor. I'm using pedal comp 2, comp at 8 and 8 dB of extra level just to balance stuff out. I've added a little bit of emphasis here as well just to sort of make it pop a little bit more, so to speak. And yeah, so that's heaps and heaps of compression. I've also got some output compression in the amp block as well. So if you go to dynamics, you can see here, I've got a little bit of dynamic depth happening and a little bit of output comp, but what I've got is another modifier attached to that, so that on my clean sounds, the output comp is higher than the slightly crunchier sounds. It just kind of helps to balance everything out. So this is really cool. What I like about this sort of straight up sound is that if I pick in different places of the guitar, it's going to sort of bring out different qualities, and that compression is kind of going to increase the volume of some stuff you would not hear as clearly if you weren't using compression. For example, if you're doing like a funky thing on the, say, the bridge and middle pickup, you know, just like a two-note kind of thing, you can really make it kind of sound vocal and open around it. Or you can pluck right down near the bridge and get this kind of metallic sound. So just from the straight up clean sound, there's plenty of sort of variations in the tone that you can get, you know. And then on this clean scene, I've got a couple of options. I can put on a stereo chorus, basically to widen everything. It sounds like so. Or I can kick on a phaser. And if I need just a little bit more grit, I've got this FET boost. There's also a wah in there, and foolishly I've not connected an expression pedal, so I'll just give you an idea of the wah. I've actually got a Y state for this one. This is using the Crybaby, so I'll turn that on and I'll just attach it to the LFO so you can hear what the wah sound is doing, but I normally have an expression pedal hooked up to do this. Let's set that back to external 1 so I don't forget. And basically what I've done is you can see that I've pulled back the maximum frequency a little bit so it doesn't get too ice picky, and the minimum frequency I think I've left at the stock value. So it's just kind of got that nice big deep chesty kind of sound that I think sounds really good for funk and R&B stuff. And on top of that, not much else is happening in scene 1. On scene 2, what is happening with the amp is that we've basically got a little bit more drive happening via the scene controllers. So let's have a look at that. You can see the input drive is up a little bit and the input trim is back to 1. The input trim really helps a lot. So this is just a straight up kind of crunch sound for a couple of songs that have more of a rock thing happening in the sound. One thing that I did forget about in the first scene as well, the last thing is there is a rhythmic delay attached to both of these scenes that's attached to the tap tempo, so And then again, I can kick in the phaser, the drive, and the chorus on all these kind of things as well. For various sounds, most of the time I'm either playing on scene 1 and just kicking in a couple of effects, or I'm just sitting on this scene 2 as it is stock. Scene 3, which I'll just dial up really quickly and talk you through, adds a parametric EQ as a solo boost. It's got chorus, and then the delay switches over to a stereo BBD, basically for a lead sound. So there's quite a bit of a volume boost here as well. When there are a couple of songs that I get to go crazy in and play some lead guitar. I think that's a nice lead sound as a standalone thing on its own. That's what I meant to say. So that is how I do that. And I mean, the main thing, there's some songs in the set which are basically just hip hop songs with no guitar on the original recording. So what my part boils down to is, sitting there and basically trying to get like a keyboard sound or a sample kind of sound. So I would use like chorus and a phaser, basically to get sort of like an electric piano kind of thing happening. This sort of like. What's that song by Next? I can't even remember the name. I'll just play around with different chord voicings and stuff like that, and a lot of the actual effecty stuff is coming from playing dynamics and things like that. So I'm lucky that the rhythm section in the band is really good, and I basically just, I can play 2 chords for a whole song, or I can play some lead guitar on a couple of songs, and they really drive everything. So it's more about just kind of sitting there as a layer, rather than like in a rock band when I'm playing, either original stuff with Ragdoll or we're doing covers, then you need sort of a more in your face, what I would call like an active guitar sound, something that's really driving the songs. Whereas for sort of funk and R&B stuff, a lot of the time you're just a layer in there. You're like either doing a rhythmic thing. Hopefully you can get some use out of this preset if you're ever playing stuff like that, because it certainly works for what I'm doing anytime I have to do this gig. So figured I would share it with you guys. It's another AX8 video as well. I've been gigging every weekend with the AX8. Like I said, either doing the Ragdoll stuff or doing fill-ins on acoustic or doing some R&B stuff. So it's still an absolutely potent piece of gear. And yeah, I'll put the preset up for you guys. What IR am I using with this? That's a good question. I'm using, there's actually an impulse of my Marshall 4x12. So this one is on AX8, so you can go and grab the custom IR, grab the preset, and have some fun making some funky music, I guess. Yeah, I'll see you guys around.